Hello. Now that we have a good number of newer players joining our webcam tournaments with the introduction of the Japanese events alongside the English events, I decided I might as well go ahead and do a quick summary of how we run our events here at the Webcam Duel Masters servers, as well as some tips that might help you with remote dueling. So on this server, all of our tournaments, they are round robin tournaments. If it's in between, let's say 8 to 15, we're typically doing 2 pods, where the top 2 from each pod will go to a top cut. So let's use an example. Let's say it's an 8-man tournament. We'd have 2 pods of 4. You'll duel the other 3 members of your pod. The top 2 players in that pod will then progress into a top cut 2 weeks later. We do typically have 2-week rounds. This next Japanese event's a 3-week round, but that is an exception. And this month, we have hit 16 players on both our English and Japanese tournament. So 16 player or more events. They're going to be 4 pods with just the first place in each pod progressing. Otherwise, same thing follows. You play the other, let's say 3 or 4 people in your pod. Whoever has the best record will make it into a top cut. If we do start exceeding 24 players, I will be bumping that top cut up to a top 8. So, for example, 24 player tournament, that's like what, 6 per pod? So, first and second out of each pod will go to top cut, about a third of the players. For our first Japanese original format event, we will be experimenting with the concept of a semi-open deck list, which what that entails is you're going to be sending to myself an image of your deck of just one card, one copy of each card in your deck, and then I'll be making untap.in deck files so that we can send it to your pod mates so that they'll have translation references available at any time. A good number of our players are either new players, returning players, or have minimal Japanese knowledge. So this should help the logic, it should help speed up gameplay. You're not constantly asking your opponent what that card does and having them repeat the same card over and over. This way, if you're ever unsure about what a card does, you can just hop onto another tab or look at your other monitor and have that deck list open and just hover over the card and it'll give you all the translations there. If we decide this either overcomplicates things or it leaks too much deck knowledge, such as my biggest concern, like you'll know what triggers your opponent has, we'll probably drop it in the future. But just for this first event, we're playing around with it. And while on the topic of Japanese events, I did just have my project of giving out some Japanese format decks to American players. Those should be arriving here in the next few weeks, and I'll be sending them off to all the interested buyers. This time I just got a whole bunch of decks, and I'm just giving them away for just shipping costs to introduce more Americans to the format. To accompany that, we will be having a starter deck only tournament in January, assuming no crazy delays or anything with the shipment, assuming all these players get their starter decks in. We'll have a tournament dedicated to just DM24 SD1 and 2 and DM25 SD1 and 2, also known as the Super Strong Deck Series, the $5 precons. For that tournament, as always, proxies will be okay, and you can run like alternate arts or like reprints of the cards, as long as your deck list matches 1-to-1 with the starter deck list. So no modifications to the deck itself. Free entry event, no prizing, same round robin like structure. We might do stuff similar in the future around certain releases. Let's say like DM26 SD1 and 2 comes out. We'll probably bring that tournament format back and just have those 6 decks to choose from instead of the 4. And for those that just play the English format events, there's no concern regarding tournament frequency. There will be no drop in tournaments. Both English and Japanese events will be happening simultaneously. I'll be doing at least 1 tournament per month of each. Some months might have 2 English tournaments and 1 Japanese, or there might be a month that has 1 and 1 or 2 and 2. But it will always stay at least 1 tournament a month per And regarding dueling via webcam, for those who have never dueled over webcam, you have a couple methods of doing so. One, let's say you have a laptop that has a built-in webcam. You can always just simply, let me just grab a laptop real quick. You can always simply just use set it up something like, let's say you just take a box, or you don't even need that in many cases, but if you wanted to higher angle, have something to sit it on, have it point down. I've even seen people do stuff like this to then get the overhead angle. You have a lot of options, or what I prefer, either with a good external webcam. I would grab my webcam, but it's hooked up. I have another one. There we go. Any second now. What I like is, I can kind of bring it into picture. I use arms. I normally do it with my phone. You could do it with a phone or a webcam itself. Something just to, let me see, I haven't used this with actual webcam before, but something like this. And you'd be able to angle it however to point directly down. My phone's not with me, but same thing works. Let's just pretend this is a phone. You get one of these $20 stands, and then you can angle it however you want. For those of us using phones, there's multiple methods to use your phone as a webcam. On Android and Apple, there is numerous apps that work, or even another option that some of us use, which doesn't require any apps other than Discord, is if you have just Discord, you can have it open on your computer and on your phone, and just have like an alt account on one of the two. So you'll have, basically you'll have the video going on the phone, and you'll be watching the Discord via the computer. I would show an example, but I don't know the best way of showing that. My phone's currently dead. But it's pretty self-explanatory. If needed in the future, I could do a more detailed remote dueling tutorial. But on that regards, you can also look up regarding Yu-Gi-Oh! Or any other card game. There are numerous other ideas for remote setups. There's even some ghetto ones that you could do, like there's an infamous photo of a dude with a stack of like ramen noodle boxes, and then he takes two rulers. I'm gonna just say this is a ruler. He had some long rulers by ramen boxes, and then a phone, so that the two rulers became like, act like this basically. So if you get creative, you'll find a setup that works. We have one player that just sits like their phone on their chair pointing down at the ground, and they have a playmat at the floor. You can get creative and find a way. And another thing that I will mention, this is back going to the Japanese side of things for the Americans. I will be doing more group orders for products. Future group orders aren't going to be like this previous one where I've been giving decks out for free, but it will be very, very cheap. My current plan, once the next starter decks come out, is the next 500 yen ones, the $5 ones, is I'll do those at cost. It'll be in pairs, so you'll buy 2 decks and then shipping. Right now, off my math, somewhere around $5 or $6 a deck after like tariffs and stuff. Let's use the $6 number. It's 12 plus like 5, so 17 will get you a pair of 2 decks. Which, if it's anything like the last 2 years of decks, they are very strong decks where you straight up have a playable deck that you can take to a tournament for just a couple bucks. It's going to be low rarity and has room for upgrades. But it's a great budget entry point to Japanese Duel Masters. Additionally, for the Americans, I did just create a new Facebook group just for Americans, Duel Masters America, buy, sell, trade, play. Haven't done much on that Facebook group yet. It only has like 10 or 15 people. I made it yesterday and haven't really done anything with it. I just started putting it together, and I do plan on trying to grow it some, especially to help with like trades and for people outside of our server. And I'll have like a pinned post there with a copy of our same player log from the webcam server, where I've been cataloging the locations of American players, because we've successfully built a few small play groups of 2 to 3 players, and I'd like to have a lot more. Well, on the topic of meetups, I'm also planning on doing Gen Con again next year, Gen Con 2026. I'm still very early into that process. I'm personally recovering from the Gen Con 2025 right now, if it wants to focus. But I will be digging deeper into that planning here shortly as it gets closer to the new year. Probably not going overboard with like play mats and all that custom stuff this year, but I do plan on getting a bunch of us together. Just play Duel Masters again. Chance to meet up. It was a blast last year. I wish I recorded more, but my phone was eternally dead the whole event, and we were just playing Duel Masters the whole time, so we were preoccupied. I think that's it for today. I will try to ramp up production of videos here in the future. I've had a very busy year. I bought a house a few months ago. I just got married. Gen Con, honeymoon, all that. It's drained me financially, and I've got 0 time since I work 2 jobs on top of all this. But I'm hoping to start getting some more content out. Still got a good backlog of stuff that I've recorded and never uploaded as well. But thanks for watching. This has kind of just been a ramble as I've talked about this. Lastly, I want to do this in one take, so I'm just going to go ahead and mention it now while it's on my head. For dual scheduling over webcam, if you look up Discord timestamp generator, there's multiple timestamp generators online, and that is the easiest way to coordinate dual times with people in other time zones. It will give you something that you can copy and paste so that you can mention a time, let's say 6 p.m., and it will be shown in the receiver's time zone. So they'll see anytime we're talking about time, it will instantly sync to their time zone. So they will know what time you're talking about without calculating, oh, he's 14 hours ahead or he's 7 hours ahead. So thanks for watching. Sorry for rambling. I'm just sitting here talking once I got off work. Decided I wanted to put something else out regarding our webcam tournaments as they are starting to grow. Bye-bye.